In 1953, a man by the name of Frank Olson checked into room 1018A at the Stratler Hotel in New York City. 9 days later, he would fall, no, plummet, crashing 10 stories down to the sidewalk below. The government said it was suicide, but what if I told you Frank didn't want to die? And what happened leading up to the days of his death was so bizarre and so terrifying, it would take decades for the truth to even begin to surface. This is the true story of a CIA scientist who was given LSD without his knowing and never came back. Frank Olson wasn't a spy. He wasn't a field agent. He was a scientist, a biochemist, working for the U.S. Army at Fort Detrick, Maryland. His specialty? Biochemical warfare. Frank was part of a secret program called MK Naomi, sister program to the infamous MK Ultra. These programs were meant to explore mind control, interrogation techniques, and chemical warfare. But Frank wasn't just mixing chemicals in a lab. He was briefed on operations, covert operations, where lethal toxins were tested on enemies and sometimes even allies. And it was starting to weigh on him. On November 28, 1953, Frank attended a retreat with other CIA and Army scientists at a cabin at Deep Creek Lake. It was supposed to be a brainstorming session, but on the second night, without warning, Frank and a couple of the others were secretly dosed with LSD without their knowing by CIA chemist Sidney Goddard. The idea to observe how they acted under the influence, but Frank was not okay. He became paranoid, withdrawn, and deeply disturbed. He was telling colleagues that he just should have resigned. He wanted to go home, but they didn't let him go home. Instead, they took him to New York City to the Stratler Hotel to see a psychiatrist. Frank checked into the Stratler Hotel with CIA officer Robert Lashbrook. The psychiatrist he was supposed to see, a Dr. Richard Abersom, was also involved in MK Ultra. Frank's mental state deteriorated rapidly. He was confused, anxious, and terrified. Then, on November 28th, at 2:30 in the morning, Frank Olson went out the window. Lashbrook said it was suicide. The CIA said it was suicide, and the case was closed. For 22 years, Frank's family believed that he had committed suicide. But in 1975, the Rockefeller Commission revealed that Frank had been unknowingly drugged by the CIA. The CIA issued a formal apology and later paid Frank's family a sum of $750,000. But Frank's son, Eric Olson, wasn't satisfied. In 1994, Eric had his father's body exhumed. The forensics team found something absolutely chilling. Blunt force trauma to the back of the head, consistent with being hit from behind. Eric believes his father was murdered because he knew too much. Over the years, more documents surfaced. Evidence suggests that Frank had become a liability. He was talking about CIA assassinations. And in Frank's line of work, loose lips didn't just sink ships, they also got you thrown out of windows. But if you were to ask Eric Olson, he'd tell you his father didn't jump, he was pushed.